I suppose you've read this, female escapee, top MP linked. You and your bunch of interfering ex-convicts, you're ruining everything I've managed to do for Jackie by plastering the city with your obscene graffiti and publishing this trash.
That headline's misleading. The article's not bad. It's all about her talent as an interior designer.
And about the demands of the PRG. Demanding changes to the law. Demanding improved conditions for prisoners. Demanding debates with members of Parliament. Debates on what? Jackie Nolan? Oh, no. She's just the ham on the sandwich now. This is the chance they've been waiting for. They don't give a bugger if she gets off or not, neither quite obviously to you.
No, you listen to me.
No, you listen to me for a change. One more article like this, one more poster, and I lose the support of the only people who can help Jackie get out of here. I lose them, and she rots in here for the next 3 years. And you will be entirely to blame.
I wish Mrs. Jackson would have her wedding in here, and then we could all go.
Maybe we'll get an invitation. You'll probably be out of here by then, Jackie. You could stand in for us and throw rice.
Or rocks.
Will you stop saying I'll get out of here? They're not going to pardon anyone who tried to beat the establishment. They're making me serve 3 years is because they want to make an example of me.
But that mate of yours knows all the right people. Of course you'll be out, especially after what it said in the papers. We've seen it happen before, haven't we, Bea? You remember Helen Masters?
Yeah, she was as guilty as hell. She killed a little kid in a hit and run.
Anyhow, you got Fletch on your side.
That finished as soon as I ended up in here.
Not if we know Fletch the Lech.
Oh, look, all right, Sheila. I wouldn't go broadcasting about Jackie and Fletch if I were you. Not even as a joke. If they shanghaied Tracy up to Barnhurst because her old man's marrying Mrs. J, they'll do the same to Jackie.
I know the prison reform group has good intentions. But as far as Anthony Vickers is concerned, neither he nor his party can afford to be associated with, well, what most of his supporters would consider to be a radical group.
I see. Of course, this would have nothing to do with an election coming up and the fact that an issue like this could gain a few votes.
It's a minor issue, but it could be a good platform for the party, if it's handled correctly.
Which does not include support from the PRG.
I think you'll agree that she'll have more chance with the political power behind her. Mr. Vickers is going to raise the matter in the party room.
But won't the opposition have something to say about it?
No, it's brought up as parliamentary business, not as legislative business. In that instance, it's up to the party in power to recommend a pardon to the governor and council.
All right, Mr. Phillips. I'll have a word to Miss Desmond, but I cannot dictate to the PRG as such.
Well, I think they'll appreciate that the most important thing is to have Jackie released. It's just a question of who has more influence.
How come your partner knows so many important people?
You need money to have an interior decorator. If you've got money, you've got influence.
Must be nice running your own business, eh, Jackie?
Well, it was while I was Sarah Forrest. Once the real Jackie Nolan stood up, I guarantee most of our orders have been cancelled.
Bet you had a good laugh, but all them rich snobs not knowing you'd been inside.
Yeah, rotten mongrels. What makes them think they're better than we are?
I'm going to run my own business when I get out. That way nobody can fire me because I've been inside.
You gotta have a head on your shoulders to run a business. You couldn't add up 2 and 2 without using your fingers.
So what? I will be able to by the time I get out. Davo wants me to study, and I reckon I will.
Takes more than books to teach you how to run a business.
Do you reckon I could become a real good businesswoman like you, Jackie?
Well, an education does help.
You got a visitor, Nolan?
Gosh, she gets more bloody visitors than a whole lot of us put together.
You ought to share them around.
Yeah, I'll have a tall, good-looking, rich bloke about 50.
You wouldn't know what to do with him, Lizzie.
I got a good memory.
Hey, maybe Mr. Fletcher could arrange things, eh, Jackie? Oh, only joking.
Well, keep your jokes to yourself in future, Burns.
Meant nothing.
You will keep your mouth shut in front of Vera.
Jackie's real nice, isn't she?
Yeah. Reminds me of me and me heyday.
She's the only one that's ever been in here that I reckon's worth looking up to. And I reckon if we put our minds to it, we could be just as good as Jackie, you know, and run a business.
Well, you couldn't run a business like Jackie. You got no taste and colour.
I didn't mean that. I meant we could do something else.
Yeah. I reckon we'd be okay running a pub.
Meg Jackson and Mrs. Davidson are the only ones who know about our relationship. And for your sake, it had better stay that way.
Why can't everyone mind their own business? We're past tense.
Yes, well, past, present, it doesn't matter. The department doesn't like officer-inmate association of any description.
It's a pity they don't feel that way about Barnhurst.
I don't want the women giving Mrs. Davidson any excuse for sending you back there.
They won't be asking you for any favours if that's what you're worried about. And they're not likely to go talking to the screws.
I'd appreciate it if you could come to see me this afternoon. Yes, that would be fine. Come in. I'm sorry, what were you saying about books? Well, they won't go astray. Perhaps we could talk about that this afternoon as well. Good. Thank you. Goodbye. Yes, Miss Bennet.
I believe you're aware that Mr. Fletcher is familiar with Jackie Nolan.
Yes.
Then what's she still doing here, Mrs. Davidson?
Miss Bennet, before you start jumping to conclusions, I think I should point out that it was due to Mr. Fletcher that she agreed to return. I think it's safe to assume that she will not take advantage of the fact that she once knew him.
It's quite possible that Mr. Fletcher might treat her a little differently, though, isn't it?
Do you have any facts to support that theory?
I like to avoid trouble before it happens.
So do I, Miss Bennet. But I like to be certain there is going to be trouble before I take action.
The women treat her like some sort of heroine. If she managed to be on the run for 6 years and do very well out of it, if I might add, what's to stop them thinking they can do the same?
Perhaps we won't have to worry about her for much longer, Miss Bennet.
Yes, and that's another thing. She breaks the law, and yet people don't want her to pay. The women will only admire her all the more.
You are probably right. But I can't afford to ask the department for another transfer. It would appear that every second officer is fraternizing with an inmate. Now, you and I know that that is not correct, but it would not look quite so innocent on paper.
Anthony Vickers needs total party support. At the moment, he's got about half on side, but they're pretty right-wing, so we've got to keep a low profile. Nothing too heavy in the press. I thought we'd concentrate on success, respectability, and the cruelty of your sentence, which is why we can't have anything too gauche, like the prison reform group putting tacky posters up all over town.
Oh, come off it, Phillips. They really upset your sensitivities that much? Or are you more concerned that they might steal some of your limelight?
I appreciate what you've done, both of you. You make my chances sound very good.
Good. Well, at the moment, it's about an 80% certainty.
When'll we know?
I'm seeing Vickers this afternoon. He'll let me know then when they're sitting. In the meantime, keep out of trouble and be patient.
Oh, I was more patient when I thought I'd have to serve 3 more years. Now I can't even wait another day.
I brought a few things in you might want to look at.
I'll have to check those.
Of course. The SS strikes back. Thought you'd like to keep your hand in. Do you know we've still got one client actually with us?
Oh, is business really so bad?
We've seen better. Never mind, once you're out, things will pick up.
Once I'm out. You don't know how good that sounds.
I suppose I should be grateful. Jackie would still be in hiding if you hadn't exposed her. But once her pardon comes through, she'll never have to hide again. Just live down her past.
Mr. Fletcher, I'm sending a report to the department suggesting that Nolan be transferred. Oh, there's no need to worry. The only reason I've given is that I consider her to be a threat to security, inciting the women to follow in her footsteps.
Rubbish. What are you really driving at?
I think I've been in this job long enough to rely on my intuitions about certain situations.
Does Mrs. Davidson know about this?
I've discussed it with her, but because of her involvement with Nolan, she could hardly send it herself.
If you've got something to say, Vera, then say it without your nasty little innuendos.
The department wouldn't be too pleased to hear that both the governor and the deputy governor are pushing for Nolan's pardon. They might see it as prejudicial, wouldn't you say? And as for attending a PRG meeting, well, I can only assume that that also had something to do with Nolan.
Well, we were hardly underhand about that. If you recall, we even asked you along.
You must know how the department feels about the prison reform group. They're troublemakers. They want to abolish prisons altogether. We work for the department, not a bunch of radicals.
You're a nasty, calculating bitch. You know that, Vera? Erica Davidson could have had you fired, and you turn around and do this to her.
Well, I didn't write all the details I should have. It's a suggestion, that's all.
You know damn well that could lead to an inquiry.
She should be moved before she causes trouble.
She's not going back to Barnhurst.
For someone who's no longer interested, you're being very protective.
Do you want to know the real reason why she escaped from Barnhurst? because she was molested by a lesbian officer.
That's disgusting. Didn't she report it?